Congratulations on the purchase of your AusRV GT. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up the main tent in its entirety. The first thing you want to do when you get to the campsite is find a good level place to set it up. The flatter, the better. If there's any form of slope at all, use wheel chocks to make sure that the camper can't move when you unhitch it. Next, apply the handbrake. So put the handbrake on, then lower the jockey wheel and wind it down until it makes contact with the ground. Then you can disconnect your electrical cables from the vehicle and release your DO35 hitch. Now we're set to wind up the camper and release it from the tow fitting. Once it's up and it's not going to move anywhere, you know it's not going to roll, disconnect your safety chains from the back of the vehicle, move your vehicle out of the way, and then to get the level correct from front to back of the trailer, use the jockey wheel to get it nice and flat. Our next step in setting up is putting the stabilizer legs down. There's 4 of them, 1 in each corner of the camper. To release them, take the weight of the leg and pull this blue handle out and lower the leg down. Once it's down in a vertical position, give it a wiggle and make sure this blue handle locks back into place. Now we can get our brace, put it on the hex drive and wind the stabilizer leg down. Wind each one down until it's firmly on the ground. If you're finding that your camper is not level from one side to the other, what you should do is use step ramps or a block of timber and get the trailer level before you put the stabilizer legs down. Although you can make small adjustments to the level of the camper using these, you can't take the full weight of the camper. There's small bevel gears inside plus small roll pins that act as shear pins that will break if you overload the stabilizer leg. My next step in setting up the camper is to take out all the linch pins that secure the over center latches. I'll go around, take them out all the way around the camper, and while I'm on the other side, I'm going to remove the locking pins that secure the boat rack from folding back over. Just take out the linch pins for the boat rack and pop them up on top because you're going to need them shortly once you fold the rack back over to secure it back into place. Before I release the boat rack and let it fold up out of the way, I always tie on a length of rope. You won't necessarily need it when you're opening up the boat rack, but it'll come in very handy when you want to close it up later. So undo our over center latches and our boat rack will swing away. Simply just pop the linch pins back into place. I've connected up my winch strap to the center eyelet on the lid itself. Now I'll go around, undo all the latches around the camper, ready to winch the lid open. Just for an added touch of safety and to reduce the angle in which I'm winching the lid over, what I'm going to do is use a spreader pole just to raise the lid a bit more and give us the perfect angle. I just place it underneath there, not on the seal. Sit it on the lip there. Now I can take up the weight with the winch, then remove this pole and easily winch it over. Now that I've taken the weight of the lid, I've been able to remove the pole that was supporting it. I can place that out of the way. Now, a very important safety factor is when you're winching open any camper or winching it closed, never stand in line of the winch strap. If the unthinkable happens and you have a hardware failure or the strap breaks, it's going to have a lot of stored energy, and that energy is going to fire it straight back down the line of the strap. You don't want to be there if that actually happens. So what I always do is stand off to the side and then operate the winch. Now I can just bring the lid over, allow it to drop down gently. Now I can wind the winch up and bring this down into its fixed position. Now we can open up our camper door. Open up the little covers over the locks, and we use the largest key that comes with it. It's got a little recessed triangle in the end. Turn the locks anti-clockwise, and that will release them. These locks, when you do them up, actually pull the door in and compress the seals to try and keep the dust and the water out. On the bottom of the steps is an adjuster bar, so if you need to operate that to get the steps level, simply remove the pins either side and extend the bar as you need be. Here, it's just right. Now, while I'm out here, I'm going to raise the rear bow pole of the main tent. So I can pull that out of the body, fold it up, then jump inside and start putting the tent together. While I'm here, I can button down my zipper either side of the door. By doing this now, as I set up the tent, it will help me get a feel of the tent sitting right in the correct position. If this is the first time you're setting up your GT tent, you'll need to retrieve these poles from your pole kit. There's two E1 poles. This is the shortest of all the poles in there. It has a rubber boot at one end and a C-clip at the other. These are positioned at the bed head underneath the front bow pole. There's also 4 D3 spreader poles. These go across the roof between the front bow pole and the centre bow pole and the rear one. So there's one in each side in both those sections. Inside the main tent, there's 3 captive bow poles, so they're built into the tent. The first one is the main bow pole here right in the centre, which extends up vertically. At the front, there's one that runs up at an angle towards the front, and of course the one at the rear, which you've seen me raise up into position. My process once I get inside the camper is to raise this one first, the main bow pole. Then I'll extend the front one, get my tent looking about right, and put in my 2 little upright poles at the front. Once I've got those all adjusted so the front of my tent looks great, I'll put the spreader poles in between the front bow pole and the centre one. These poles, this main front angled bow pole, controls the entire aspect of the tent. If you have it extended too far, you'll get creases in your canvas and your door zipper will sit forward. It'll be difficult to operate the door zippers and the tent just simply won't look right. So that is your key pole to making sure the entire tent sits correctly. Something that's really important to do, particularly if this is the first time you're setting up the tent, is once you've got your tent up, back off the straps that hold the tropical roof in place. Loosen the tropical roof up, jump inside the camper, zip up your doors and all your windows, and do your final adjustments. Make sure the inside tent is taut, not tight, but taut. You don't want to overstress the canvas and push the poles too far. You can damage the canvas and tear it, or you can tear the seams. So you want it not tight like a drum, you want it to fit taut. Once that's done and your internal tent is spot on, what you can do is then go and adjust the tropical roof straps until the canvas lifts off the canvas below it. But don't tighten them to the point where they pull the tent in underneath. What that will do, if you over tighten them, is it'll cause the canvas to sag at the front and the back. What happens then is if it rains and you get water gets in underneath the tropical roof, it'll start to pull on the canvas underneath, and if you get enough, it'll stretch the canvas or even collapse the poles. And that, folks, is how you pack up your AusRV GT. Remember the golden rules? Find a nice flat spot, always use wheel chocks, apply the handbrake, do it safely. When winching, never stand in line of the winch strap in case of a failure, and remember the tropical roof should never be over tightened where the inside canvas starts to get a bit of a drop in it and can pull water. And of course, never extend your poles to the point where you start to stress the seams or the canvas itself. It should look taut, not tight. For more great tuitional videos, head across to our YouTube channel and go to our website and download the owner manual for your AusRV GT. These videos and our owner manual are our commitment to you to make sure you get the best possible use out of your AusRV GT or any other AusRV product for many years to come.